Yeah, welcome back to Business Morning, and I'm moving on to the first conversation for the day, talking about addressing the unaddressed in Nigeria's solar energy market. In a country blessed with abundant sunlight, Nigeria's solar energy market holds vast potential, yet much of it remains untapped. As the nation grapples with power shortages and rising electricity demand, experts say addressing the unaddressed issues in the solar sector could redefine Nigeria's energy future. Nigeria receives an average of over 2,600 hours of sunlight annually, and one of the highest in the world. And yet millions of homes and businesses continue to rely on expensive diesel generators or remain in darkness. The paradox highlights deep structural gaps in the nation's renewable energy landscape. Industry analysts point to financing barriers, poor regulatory frameworks, and limited local manufacturing capacity as key challenges slowing solar adoption. While several startups and international investors have ventured into the sector, the high upfront cost of solar installations remains a stumbling block for many rural and low-income households. Government initiatives such as the Solar Niger project under the Economic Sustainability Plan have aimed to deploy millions of off-grid solar connections. However, experts argue that implementation bottlenecks, policy inconsistencies, and weak local content development have limited the program's full impact. And as Nigeria's transition towards cleaner energy sources, stakeholders are calling for stronger collaborations between government agencies, private investors, and even local innovators to build a more inclusive energy ecosystem. With over 80 million Nigerians still lacking reliable electricity, addressing the unaddressed in the solar energy market is not just an environmental necessity, but it is an economic imperative. And now joining us is Yakubu Yunusa. He is a certified renewable and solar expert. Good morning, Yunusa.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on
Thanks.
Business Morning this morning. Now, very quickly, how would you
Thanks.
access the current regulatory environment for solar energy in Nigeria?
Well, thank you so much for these beautiful questions and the topic. Addressing the unaddressed in solar energy industry is something we need to, try to address for us to have a smooth running of business in Nigeria. When we are looking at the policy that affect majority of these solar energy in Nigeria, one of the policy which I think affecting Nigeria solar energy industry currently is that the government parastatals in charge of energy management, they are not doing enough, which is affecting both private organizations. They are not funding those private organizations who are interested in, generating mini grid solar energy system in Nigeria. And also another issue that is happening in solar energy industry is that the lack of, funds from the federal government. We are hearing a lot of projects. They are financing social projects with social billions of naira. All these things are being seen on papers. We are not seeing it in action. Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So we are not seeing all these things in action. So in the physical aspect of it, we are not feeling the vibes. We are not seeing the possibility of we having a smooth running environment for the investor in solar energy in Nigeria.
Wow. Okay, now, so what specific policy gaps are hindering the large-scale investment and adoption of solar solutions?
Well, to mention a specific, there are many issues affecting these current issue we are talking about. We have the main blockers. You understand? We have the main blockers which is affecting this issue. Like as I mentioned earlier, for instance, we all know that the kind of electricity we are using in Nigeria does not allow net metering compared to the advanced country I don't want to mention any country, but if we take a look at those countries that has, access to 247 electricity, are you getting me?
Exactly.
They allow their common citizen to have what we call net metering, which give access to anybody that has a solar energy system, to sell back to the grid. But because of the policy which we are running in Nigeria sector, when you install a solar energy system and you are generating excessive electricity, so because of the net metering policy we are using that doesn't allow this, so you will be losing money instead of you getting credit like all these advanced countries when their citizens have a net prepaid meter, whereas the government are generating electricity to them, right? And
Yeah.
they are also generating their own. So this balance their equation. So if what they are consuming from the government, electricity is not enough, that is when they will be charged. But if what they are generating from their own solar setup, is higher than what they are consuming, they will be able to sell back to the grid. So the first policy which I want government to look into is this net metering issue. As we have gross, people, a lot of the citizens going into solar energy industry, they should allow the policy, they should review the policy of net metering in Nigeria. And another thing which I want to shape in is this: the tariff on importation of solar products. If the government can also look into it to bring this tariff down, I think is going to bring a positive innovation into this field.
Okay. So now, do you think that Nigeria's renewable energy policies is actually aligning with its climate and electrification goals?
Well, yes, Nigeria is aligning, but there is a little bit uh, issue which I'm seeing in this current situation. For you, this solar of a thing is new in this community. A lot of people, they lack the right knowledge about solar system. So I think the government has to come out from their shell to emphasize on the right methodology on how to use solar the right way so that the solar system will align with the climate change of environment in Nigeria. The advocacy, the announcement is not enough. Education, the publicity is not enough. That is the area which the government is lacking.
Mm. So now, what reforms are most urgent to unlock the full potential of the solar sector?
The number one reform, which I think will unlock this full potential, is the uh, establishment of, or am I going to call it a support to local manufacturing of solar products in
Okay.
Nigeria. Most of all these products we are using, majority of it are imported. We are importing solar panel, we are importing inverter, we are importing controller and everything. We can manufacture these things in Nigeria here if there is a full support from those in charge of it. So the first thing I want them to look into is the local manufacturing, local support. Let's
Okay.
be manufacturing all these products in Nigeria here also. So when we start manufacturing, it will reduce the cost and also it will boost the economy. And it will provide employment opportunity, to the common citizen. And also, I want the government to also look into the aspect of giving funds, supporting individual, the citizen, those who could not afford the solar energy system. Let there be grants, whereas a common citizen can be able to take maybe on instrumental payment,
Okay.
which is going to have a low interest since it's coming from the government. So those are the two areas also which I'm also looking forward.
Okay, now talking about financing and investment, why is access to finances still one of the biggest challenges for solar projects in Nigeria?
I do say that solar is an investment.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Solar is an investment. And when we say something is an investment, you need money. There is, we have a lot of factories, a lot of business owners, a lot of, home owners. who want to install a certain capacity of solar energy system to run their business or to run their home, maybe, and they could not afford the cost of this particular solar system. Sometimes they will lose interest because though the one available has a higher interest. As I'm talking to you, we have many microfinance banks. I don't want to mention any, financing all the solar system. But if you check the interest rate, it is higher than sometimes when you check the interest rate, it is even higher than the cost of the solar system.
Okay. All right. Now,
so those are the things which are affecting. So if the government can come in, reduce the interest rate, extend maybe 4 to 5 years of repaying this money, it's going to make a lot of people to buy this idea of installing solar system for their businesses.
Oh, okay. So now what role can local financial institutions and even micro lenders play in expanding, this sector?
Let me pick it from the microfinancing of lenders. They are the closer bank to the community, right? The microfinance banks, they are the closer banks to the community. And being closer to the community, majority of them can also partner with solar companies, having a business agreement with them that it's also company. If you have a customer that wants to buy solar and they could not afford the cost, after checking their credibility, let us finance them for you. But majority of these microfinance banks, remember, every business owner has their target. Every business owner has their interest rate which they are working toward. I won't tell them to bend their rules, but I will encourage them to reduce the higher interest they are placing on all this solar financing. So that is number one. And number two, they should also create awareness. Majority of all these banks, if people are saying that, so banks are financing solar, it will be easier for customers to also approach them. And from approaching those microfinance bank will approach their partners. It's going to be a win-win also.
Said that, right? How can the government encourage how can the government actually encourage private sector participation in solar infrastructure projects?
Number one thing which I will try to say is this: most of the projects which we are seeing being carried out truly are being financed by the government. There are different projects we are seeing up and down, but we have limited numbers of certified individuals. If the first thing I want the government to come in is training, certification to all these private individuals, all these businesses, in our community. A lot of them, they lack the standardability of carrying out these services. The first thing I want government to do is to look at training them, opening a training center in all the 36 states of Nigeria, opening doors to any interested private organization who want to, be carrying out the services. And the second thing is finance. The aspect of finance is very much important. And another thing is advocacy. The government are not doing it enough, in my own analytical view, because we have a lot of media, we have a lot of platform which I expected the government to also be talking, telling people that, you can start using solar. This is the encouragement, this is the benefits you are going to get when you start using solar. By doing this, it will create more interest of the common citizen to dive into solar, to dive into solar energy system, sector.
Innovative financing models are working in other African countries that Nigeria should actually adopt, so these things can work very well for us.
Yes. Like I said, solar is nearly new in this country. And I believe, based on the mission we are having, that by mission 2030, we should have a percentage of people using solar. It is not a matter of, saying it. We need to put it into action. All these advanced countries, these are what they are doing there. You understand? That makes the rapid growth of, adoption of solar energy innovation to speed up. So if we put all these things together, I think there's going to be a better environment, performance in solar energy sector in Nigeria.
The area of a technology and even local content. How can Nigeria strengthen its local manufacturing capacity for solar panels and components?
In that aspect, I think our media streams, they have to come in and play vital roles. Media stream has become the only genuine source to which the common citizen of Nigeria gets their information. If we start broadcasting, telling people more, telling them the advantage, the benefit, the reward, I think using this platform, we will have a lot of penetration into the locals, and soon we'll move to the international level.
But are there efforts to train local technicians and even engineers to sustain the industry long term?
With the way I'm saying this, I'm not saying any positivity in this, because the numbers of certified engineer, which I'm saying, they are very low compared to the expected. Because when you check online, when you check different solar companies, many people are claiming that they are into solar energy system, right? Okay. Do we have certified people trained by either the government organization or private sector? The numbers we have is little, is very low compared to what we need to meet up by the mission 2030 we are shouting up and down.
Okay. So then what technological innovations can help reduce the high upfront cost of solar installations? That's the high upfront cost of solar installations. What do you think can actually, make it lower?
If we can look into the aspect of integrating solar system, because for instance, if you look at a few years ago, when you want to install solar energy system, you have to buy solar panel, you buy battery, you buy inverter. When you check the cost of all those components, it's higher. But now we have smart system, whereas when you purchase a smart system, all this ESS, all in one system, you only buy just your panel to integrate. This will reduce the cost of buying solar panel, buying battery, buying inverter, and also the kind of the battery we are using. If you check the numbers of battery we are using, maybe before, well, lead acid, tubular battery, but now using lithium-ion battery configuration, in the next 10 years, customer will be able to be using their system without buying or replacing another battery. And solar panel function within 15 to 25 years. So all these type of technological innovation has to be bring and imbibed into this sector for us to be able to reduce more cost of the system. Technology, the more technology we bring, like the other time we are using transformer based inverter. Now we have transformerless, which cost lesser. Inverter that has an inbuilt controller. So instead of you buying controller, buying inverter separately, you don't need to do that now. All what you just need to do is to buy a hybrid inverter or all-in-one system. These are happening due to technological innovation, but majority of the citizens or the locals, they are still with the analog means of the solar system. Okay. So we have to wake them up that the technology has increased. We have moved from the old system to the new system so that we can be updated.
Wow. All right, then talking about access and rural electrification, despite several solar projects, many rural communities still lack access to electricity. Why is that? Why do you think it happens that way?
Well, if you look at the population of Nigeria, we have over 250 million population.
Yeah.
And when we are looking at all these projects they are financing, it is not the whole state. It is just maybe a community. So how do you expect a community? Whereas we have a whole state and they just focus on maybe one small tiny village and install about 20 street lights there. How will that be effective to the whole community?
True. So now,
so those are the things we are having. So the project, the rural electrification project we are having, most of them takes years to finish, and also some of them they lack maintenance. Go and check most of all these rural electrification agency projects. After the commission, they won't go back for maintenance. There are a lot of boreholes in the community. They are not functioning again. There are a lot of community street lights. They lack maintenance. There are a lot of mini grids. All these small mini grids we are seeing, most of them lack maintenance. So the one that they install lack maintenance. So we need more to be installed. The one they install lack maintenance and we need more. So we can't meet up if we continue in this pattern. We won't be able to meet up.
Sure.
So we have to continue to do more projects. And also, I'm so very sorry to say this. They have to look at the budget which they are allocating for all this rural education. Some of the time when I do sit down to analyze, sometimes I have seen a particular project they are costing about 1.something million naira for a street light that costs just about 250,000 naira.
Oh.
So all these kind of things are part of the things we need to review, to look into. The kind of the rural education project we are having are very low in Nigeria currently. So the government has to increase its speed.
So now, how can off-grid and even mini grid solar solutions bridge Nigeria's energy gap?
Well, since I'm seeing a particular policy currently that an individual, can sell to the grid, can sell to the neighbor, that every citizen of Nigeria is free to install solar. For instance, I want the federal government to also make it as a publication. Those who can afford it, encourage people to invest in mini grid system so that they can be selling to communities. For instance, if I have the money and I look at a particular community that lack electricity, I set up a mini grid farm and start selling to them. Are we together?
Yeah.
This will encourage the numbers of off-grid setup we'll be having in Nigeria. And if individuals have their own mini grid, this will also speed it up and reduce the dependency on the national grid.
Wow. Oh, right. You've said well, but then what role should states, governments, and local councils play in expanding rural access to solar power? I'm sure, with what you've just said, if the government and the local councils play a huge role, this rural access to solar power can be expanded in these communities, right or wrong?
Yes. I'm 100% sure of that.
Okay then. So then how can communities be more involved in maintaining solar infrastructure?
What we need is orientation. There are, based on my research, there are many videos circulating, whereas there was a particular mini grid set up in a particular village. But because of lack of orientation, and in this particular village, based on my research, I heard that there was no rainfall in that particular community. And the locals, they believe that because of the solar system being installed in that particular village was the reason why they are not experiencing rainfall in that village.
Wow.
I see no reason why you want to set up something which they are not familiar with without giving them the right orientation about it. To let them be aware, pass the information to them, let them know the benefits, let them know what this is going to do to the community. By telling them what this is going to give to them,
exactly,
how it's going to assist their business, how it's going to illuminate the community. This will reduce the risk of them damaging those systems. Do you know that there are many solar streets like that have been damaged in that community?
Wow.
Do you know that there are many solar boreholes that are being damaged in community today?
Mm.
And it is a rural electrification agency project. It is lack of orientation. It is lack of awareness because majority of them, they are hungry.
Mm.
And they think that the only thing they can do is maybe to steal the battery of this system and sort it off. But when you pass the right orientation, the right knowledge to them, let them know the value, let them know the hazard of going there to go and disconnect a battery. You are not an expert and you are going toward a high voltage system to disconnect. What if you are electrocuted? What if there is fire outbreak in that community? What is going to happen?
You've made a very
Orientation
valid
agency has
point.
to come in.
Yeah, you've made a very valid point about reoriented. I mean, teaching these people, how to use these facilities, because it will be beneficial to them. And some time ago, I went across a rural community and I saw solar powered street lights helping the community, gain access to bright roads, and it's helping them. Okay, now let's go into a little bit of sustainability and the future of energy. How does expanding solar energy align with Nigeria's transition to a very clean energy economy?
Well, as I do say, in my own projection, I think there is going to be more development and more acceptance of solar energy in Nigeria. And in the next few years, I can tell you that 65% of the population might depend on green energy, which is the solar. And, due to the, because we have a lot of people going solar now, we have a lot of people, buying solar system. So in the next picture, I can proudly tell you that we are going to have the increment, but we have to put all these factors together, to assist the community. Because there is a lot of things also happening in the solar market. When you go to the solar market, there is a lot of sticker panels. A solar panel rated 300 watts, but because of personal profit, they will remove the sticker and put 450 watt panel, the sticker on it. A lot of people don't know this. A lithium battery of grade E, instead of it, I think this is where our standard organization has to come in also. If we really want to improve.
Exactly.
They are trying their effort, they are doing their effort, but to me, their effort is not enough.
So these things, are they removing them locally or from the manufacturers?
No, before we start manufacturing, I encourage local manufacturing to boost our economy so that we won't mostly depend on importation, right?
Exactly.
But since we are not encouraging the local manufacturing currently, we have to continue importing. Pending the time, we will start manufacturing in Nigeria.
Wow. Yeah, you've made very solid, points concerning this solar energy in Nigeria. But then, what is the realistic timeline for solar energy to significantly reduce Nigeria's dependence on fossil fuels?
Like I said, in the next few years, I don't want to mention a particular year. I can tell you that in the next 10 years, Nigeria will have over 65% population, are using solar energy system.
Okay. That will be good. Okay, so what lessons can Nigeria learn from other emerging economies leading in renewable adoption?
Well, the first thing I want Nigeria to learn from is this. Majority of all these advanced countries we are seeing today, they are being powered by solar. They are being powered by renewable energy. The government has mini-grid. We have different sorts of power generation in Nigeria, right?
Yes.
Do we have solar included in this system?
It's just a few.
Do we have solar farm being inclusive? What is the percentage of the solar farm we have being included into this? We have to look at that angle also. Are we still relying on hydroelectric power? Whereas when it's dry season, there won't be enough water to drive this our hydroelectric power. It's going to reduce the power generation in Nigeria, which is what we know, right? If we have mini grid being integrated into this system, it's going to assist this. And before you know, we will not be depending on hydroelectric power. We will not be depending on solar if we start integrating solar, because all these advanced countries, that is what they are doing. I can mention about 5 advanced countries that they have about 235 megawatts of solar plants driving their cities, driving their country. How many do we have in Nigeria? That is the question. So it is time for our government to also look into that aspect.
But then, talking about our government looking into that aspect, some time ago, news came out, solar powered Aso Rock, and the budget for that was very high. What do you have to say on that? Are you saying that the government is not aware, and yet they are putting that facility in, Aso Rock in Abuja?
Well, as a solar analyst, let me tell you something. When we are talking about solar energy design, it is a good innovation. When the government came out and said they want to install a mini grid to power Aso Rock, let me ask you a question. Is that enough? Where particular Aso Rock? Is it the whole, am I going to call it the whole local government, or the Aso Rock that mini grid is going to power? What is the capacity of the mini grid? We only heard about the figure, right?
Yeah.
We don't, the amount, the capacity of the solar system being installed, I don't think it is in the public domain.
Okay. All right. Having said that, let's finally ask this question. What one step would you prioritize to address the unaddressed issues in Nigeria's solar markets? What is that thing you think has not been addressed? Which particular issue?
What I will address is this. Number one, we need more solar products in Nigeria. Okay. We need more solar products in Nigeria, because what we have is not enough. We have a lot of businesses folding up. We have a lot of people who could not, earn electricity at their various houses. So we need more solar, and we need to start encouraging local manufacturing. Also, we need to start training our youth. We have a lot of youth in Nigeria currently who are looking for white-collar job. Is there anything wrong if we start training them? If we start including renewable energy courses in our curriculum? Because it's a very booming business. It's a business, whereas a lot of people are not looking into that. There is a lot of employment opportunity in this renewable energy sector. Wow. Because we only have 10% certified solar installers. Wow. Compared to the thousands and millions of the population of Nigeria looking for jobs. There's nothing bad if we empower them with that skill.
True. I want to thank you.
One.
Yeah. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
And number two is this. All these products they are bringing, like I said, we should start encouraging local manufacturing. Remember that we don't have more plants manufacturing currently. We still at least depend on importation, right?
Yeah.
Let our standard organization start looking into all those batteries they are bringing in.
Okay.
I'm looking at something currently. A tick timer bomb is coming, because a typical Nigerian man is looking for a product that is cheap in the market.
Exactly.
And looking at something that is cheap, do we have a standard for it? I personally, talking to you, I purchased a battery, and this particular battery nearly burnt down my customer's house. And this particular product has a standard organization stamp or mark, I don't know what you call it, on it. Why? Because the BMS failed. Do they test this system before approving it for us to bring it into Nigeria to start using? So those are the other things we have to start looking at. All those products coming in. Remember, there are a lot of videos circulating that solar systems, a lot of people are even afraid of putting solar systems on their roof. I don't know if you are aware of that.
Yes, a lot of people are scared of that now. And I'm thinking that you guys have alternative ways of actually installing solar energy in people's homes now to avert that fire effect that people are afraid of.
I do tell people, the positioning of the solar panel on the roof is not the problem, but the quack services being carried out by the sole parading themselves, the roadside mechanic parading themselves as solar installers, is the reason. Number two, the product, what is the quality of the product used? You know, when you give a quality product to a quack, it's like you are setting an atomic bomb on your roof.
But then again, there are a lot of homeowners, landlords, and landladies that do not want their tenants to install the solar. I mean, to do solar installation in their homes. What would you say to such people?
What I would say to them is lack of orientation and lack of knowledge. You know, majority of people, they're based on what they see. And, you know, a lot of people, and there's something we say, experience is what is the best teacher. Maybe because of one neighbor house has catches fire. So they will not want to lose their property. But if we educate them that come, who told you that, because I've seen a lot of people saying, don't put solar panel on your roof. Do look for a carport. Who told you that putting a solar panel on a carport will not allow it to catch fire also? What we need to look at is the product we are using.
Mr. Yunusa, you've made very valid points, and I want to thank you so much for joining us on Business Morning today to unveil this truth about the renewable sector. So many things that we do not know you have just spoken to us about this morning. Thank you for unveiling so much to us this morning, Yunusa Yakubu, renewable and solar expert. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. And that's it for Business Morning this morning. Thank you for staying with us as we tracked latest trends shaping markets and the economy. Remember, business decisions are stronger when backed by the right information. I am Destiny Momoh. Do stay tuned for more updates on Big Story and join us again tomorrow for yet another edition of Business Morning on the Breakfast Show. Good morning.